We are still continuing with you in the Oracle Database Architecture course. In the previous video, we talked about the basic components of the database, and we learned that there are two primary components. One, Oracle Instance, which is formed in memory. Two, Oracle Database, which is part of the storage in which the database files are stored. In this video, we will talk about two basic topics. One, Oracle Instance Components. We will talk about the primary components of Oracle Instance. 2. Oracle Database Files, which is a group of files stored in the database. So we have an Oracle database consisting of two main parts. 1. Oracle Instance. 2. Oracle Database. Regarding the Oracle Instance, it is formed in memory. It consists of two main parts. The first part is called SGA, or System Global Area, and is also called Shared Global Area, because the data in this part is shared between all users connected to the instance. The second part is Background Processes. It is a group of processors within the database. Regarding the Oracle database, it is a group of files specific to the database that are stored in the storage, and there are three primary files that are stored in the storage, which are first, data files. Here, all data is stored, whether user data or metadata. Second, control files. It contains the structure of the database, starting from the name of the database, and the storage location of the redo log files and data files. Third, the redo log files. It is a file to record all changes that occur in the database. There are other types of files, such as the parameter file and the password file. The parameter file is used to create the Oracle instance. When the database is startup, the instance is created based on the values in the parameter file. The parameter file can be a text file, P file, or a binary file, SP file. We will talk in detail later about the parameter file. All we care about now is that the parameter file is used to create the instance. There is also a file called the password file, which is a file used to authentication database administrators, even if instance is closed. We will talk about that later. Regarding Oracle Instance, it consists of two main parts. 1. SGA. 2. Background Processes. Also, the SGA consists of a number of components. We will talk here about 5 primary components. Of course, there are other components, but we will talk about the primary components. 1. Shared pool. 2. Database buffer cache. 3. Redo log buffer. 4. Large pool. 5. Java pool. Regarding the shared pool, here the SQL and PL/SQL statements are executed. It contains two parts. 1. Data dictionary cache. We need this part to parse the SQL and PL/SQL statements and create execution plan because it contains metadata. 2. Library cache. Here, the SQL and PL/SQL statements are executed. Regarding the database buffer cache, it is also part of the SGA, and it contains the data that you want to process, as the data is brought from the data files. This is because the data is not processed on the storage, but rather the data is brought from the storage to the buffer cache. We have also redo log buffer. When a change occurs in the data in the database, these changes are saved in the redo log buffer, which is a log in which all changes are saved in the form of records. Also, we have Java pool and the large pool. They have some tasks that we will talk about later. So we have the SGA, which consists of shared pool, which consists of the library cache, and data dictionary cache. And we know that the library cache executes SQL and PL/SQL statements, while the data dictionary cache contains the metadata that we need in the parse process and create execution plan. We also have the database buffer cache, and here the data is processed after being brought from the data files, and we have the redo log buffer, which contains the changes that occur in the database. Now we will talk about the second part of the instance, which is background processes. Here we will talk about a number of the most important processes. 1. System monitor. 2. Process monitor. 3. database writer, 4, log writer, 5, checkpoint. These are the 5 most important background processes. Of course, there are a number of other background processes that we will talk about later, but now we will talk about the 5 most important background processes. Regarding the database writer, it is a background process that writes the data that has been processed into the database buffer cache. It writes it into the data file. Of course, as we know, data processing takes place in the buffer cache, not the data file. After that, it is written into the data file so that we do not lose the data, as the data in the buffer cache is temporary data that is lost when the computer is restarted. We have also log writer. It is a processor that writes the changes to the redo log buffer and writes them to the redo log files. Regarding the system monitor, it monitors the instance and helps in performing a recovery in the event of a crash to the instance. Also, we have process monitor. It monitors the background processes that are running, and if a problem occurs to one of these processes, it performs a recovery for it. Regarding the checkpoint, it synchronizes the redo log files with the data files to ensure that all changes in the memory are saved in the data files. In short, we know the Oracle database. It consists of 2 main parts: Oracle Instance, Oracle Database. Regarding the Oracle database, it is a part of the storage that is allocated to store the database files, the most important of which are data files, which contain data, whether user data or system data. We have the control files that contain the database structure, and we have the redo log files, which contain the changes that occur in the database. Regarding the Oracle instance, it contains 2 main parts: SGA, background processes. Regarding the SGA, it contains a number of parts, the most important of which are shared pool, which is the part of SGA, which is the main part in the IT consists of 2 parts: library cache, which is a place to execute SQL and PLSQL statements; data dictionary cache, which is where the metadata is stored, which is used to parse and create execution plan. We have the database buffer cache, which is a place where the data that is brought from the data files and is to be processed and saved again in the data files is saved. We have the redo log buffer, where the changes that occur in the database are saved. Regarding the background processes, there are a number of processors, the most important of which are database writer, which is a processor that writes data from the database buffer cache to the data files. We knew that the log writer is a processor that writes data from the redo log buffer to the redo log file. We will meet in the next video.